Every cat parent, no matter how much they love spending time with their kitty, at some point has to leave them. Maybe you have to go to work. Maybe you've got a vacation booked. Maybe you're just nipping to the store because you realize that you ran out of your cat's favorite food. Either way, you can't bring your fur baby with you, so you have to leave them alone in the house until you get back. Many people think that this wouldn't pose a problem. After all, cats are famously independent creatures. They'll be fine until you get back. Even if you're gone for more than a day or two, there's no real reason to worry, right? Wrong. Your cat will definitely notice, and statistically, the longer you leave them alone, the more trouble they can get themselves into. So we've gathered top 8 most common things that cats get in danger with when left alone, so always make sure you're not making the following mistakes. Trust us, your kitty will thank you for this. Mistake number 1. One of the most dangerous things that your kitty can experience when home alone is also one of the hardest for you, as a cat parent, to control: boredom. A bored cat can get into all kinds of trouble, no matter how well you think you've secured the house. Your cat should have access to toys that encourage solo play. Puzzle feeders, which require your cat to solve some kind of puzzle in order to gain access to delicious treats, are a good way to keep your cat occupied. So are toys that are equipped with springs, so that your cat can bat them back and forth and have them always spring back. Never leave your kitty home alone without some way to entertain themselves. Mistake number 2. Here's an old joke. A cat walks into a bar and asks the barman for a glass of milk. The barman pours out a shot and slides it across the bar to the cat. The cat swipes the glass, knocks it off the bar top, and then demands another. This joke relies on the listener knowing about the feline tendency to knock over any object that is left upright on a flat surface. In real life, however, the cat in the bar would be potentially in a lot of trouble, and not just because they probably don't have their wallet with them to pay for those drinks. When your cat knocks something made of glass or china off of a counter, like most people's drinking glasses and crockery, then it's liable to break into multiple razor-sharp shards. If these get into your fur baby's delicate paw pads, then they could cause severe problems for your cat. To prevent this avoidable tragedy, ensure that all breakable items are secured before you leave the house. Mistake number 3. You hopefully already know that you need to leave your kitty with a full water dish when you leave the house. But how many dishes do you leave? One ought to be sufficient if you're only leaving for a few hours, but if you're leaving overnight or longer and you haven't booked a cat sitter, then you should always leave more than one source of water. Not only will your kitty need more water while you're gone, but you want to make sure that they have more than one source in case one of them gets knocked over or your cat takes against it for some reason. Cats can be picky about their water sources. A cat can, in theory, survive for 2 to 3 days without water, but in practice, after only 24 hours, they will start experiencing severe symptoms of dehydration, potentially causing damage to their delicate vital organs. Mistake number 4. A proper source of food is also important. As with all animals, if your cat goes too long without eating, their body will start burning the fat stored in their body for energy. However, in order to be converted into energy, these fat cells need to be processed by your cat's liver. As obligate carnivores, cats aren't adapted to a fatty diet. As their liver struggles to process it, the excess fat can build up, causing a potentially dangerous liver condition called fatty liver disease or hepatic lipidosis. Unfortunately, your cat doesn't know this. Cats will often stop eating if they are under stress, which is more likely in a cat who has been left home alone, or if they think their food has gone stale. To protect your kitty's health, be sure and always get a cat sitter if you're planning to be gone for more than just an overnight. Mistake number 5. A lot of cats really enjoy playing with hair ties or elastic bands. These things are small, and because of their unusual shape and elastic qualities, they will often seem to jump away when your kitty pounces on them, simulating the sensation of chasing prey. But there's a problem. The ability of hair ties and elastic bands to get tangled up around themselves means that these objects can very easily become small enough to get into your cat's mouth. If your cat is pretending that they're prey, then the logical response to this would be to swallow. The elastic band or hair tie can then get tangled up inside your cat's digestive system, causing an intestinal blockage that might require surgery to remove. Your kitty should never play with elastic bands or hair ties unless closely supervised, but because these items are small, they are easily dropped on the floor or knocked off counters. If you're planning to leave your kitty alone, be sure and check around your house for these items and tidy them away in a drawer if you find them. Mistake number 6. We all like to be eco-friendly, and one popular piece of advice to help conserve energy and save the planet is to make sure you turn your heating and/or air conditioning off after you leave the house. This tip also saves on bills, but spare a thought for your poor kitty. Although their fur offers them some protection against extreme temperatures, your cat is not immune to hot or cold. If the temperature of your house sinks below 45 degrees Fahrenheit or 7 degrees Celsius, then it will become too cold for your cat. If it rises above 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius, on the other hand, then your fur baby risks overheating. It's important to ensure that your cat has a source of heat in cold weather and a place to cool down in hot weather. Mistake number 7. You ever spend some time playing with your cat by dangling a piece of string or a feather wand and watching them chase after it? Chasing small, fast-moving objects like the end of a dangled piece of string allows your kitty to make use of the hunting instincts that, in the wild, would be vital to their survival. But the game does come with one hidden danger that you may not be aware of. Playing with your kitty like this runs the risk of accidentally training them to treat anything long and string-like as a toy. Bad enough when they start chasing your untied shoelaces, but it can get a lot worse if your cat starts to treat electrical wires or charging cords the same way. Not only does your cat risk damaging them, but if they manage to chew through a wire that is connected to the mains, then there's a risk of them getting electrocuted. To avoid this danger, make sure you never leave your kitty home alone unless all chargers and wires have been hidden or placed out of reach. Mistake number 8. So, you've prepped the house. You've cleared away all electrical cords, glasses, hair ties, and anything else that looks even remotely dangerous. You've left appropriate amounts of food and water, and a plethora of toys to entertain your fur baby until you get back. But seconds after you leave, your kitty wanders into your open closet, and the door swings shut behind them, trapping them in a small enclosed space with no food or water. If you're lucky, and only going away for an overnight, then you'll get back to find that your fur baby is hungry, thirsty, and very annoyed, but otherwise fine. Maybe they'll have peed on your shoes. But if you're gone for longer than that and haven't arranged for a sitter, then you could come home to find your kitty severely dehydrated and requiring a vet visit. Or worse, you could open that closet door to find that you no longer have a cat at all. To avoid this tragedy, always ensure that if you're leaving your cat alone for more than a few hours, you either securely close or prop open all doors in the home to avoid any possibility of your kitty becoming trapped. What does your cat really think when you walk out the door? Are they plotting mischief, sleeping the day away, or secretly missing you more than they let on? While we spend our time missing them, what's going through their minds when they're left to their own devices? In this video, we'll uncover the surprising truths about what cats really do and feel when you're not at home, and how it impacts your bond with your feline friend. If you love diving into the fascinating minds of cats, don't forget to subscribe and join our feline-loving community. Number 1. Nap time. More often than not, cats are more than happy curling up somewhere and taking a nap, whether you're around or not. While this "I don't care that you're gone" attitude doesn't do their aloof reputation many favors, it does make it much easier to leave cats unattended while you're at work. With a habit of sleeping for anywhere between 12 to 18 hours a day, or more, most cats don't even notice you're gone. It might be heartbreaking to know your feline friend hardly missed you at all in your absence, especially when you spent all day wishing you were cuddling them instead of working. But it's also a comforting thought. The more time your cat spends sleeping, the less time they're worrying about your whereabouts. They certainly won't feel lonely while they're chasing mice in their sleep. Your cat will also be bright-eyed and refreshed when you do get home, ready for all sorts of playtime mischief. After dinner, of course. Number 2. I miss you. They might sleep all day, but cats do miss you when you're not there. Some breeds are also more social than others and prefer not to be alone for long. If you have more than one cat and they have a strong bond, they might be less affected by your absence, but the house still feels empty without you. As aloof as your cat might be, they still form powerful bonds with those they consider family. They know that when they're with you, they're safe, fed, and watered. Without their human best friend around, your cat can't help but miss you. Who are they supposed to pester about their next meal? Who's going to give them chin scratches? Like dogs, they can suffer from separation anxiety too, and can be just as fearful or destructive when left on their own for too long. Number 3. Where are you? Cats are curious. They want to know what's going on all the time. If you're in the bathroom and you close the door, they want to know why. Privacy? What's that? They're missing out on all the adventures here. Open the door. When you leave for the day, your cat is likely to wonder where you've gone. You might have left for a few minutes to run to the store, or just the usual half-hour walk with the dog. Something routine that your cat is more than used to. But that doesn't mean they're not curious about what happens when you're out. They're intrepid explorers too. Why can't they tag along to see what's happening? Worse still, when you come back covered in strange smells, how are they supposed to react? Is that another cat they can smell? How dare you! Number 4. What do I do now? The house is so much quieter when you're not there that, to your inquisitive feline, it almost seems boring. How do they find excitement exploring under the couch without someone protesting about their claws in the furniture or laughing at their antics? Even their favorite stuffed mouse toy seems far less interesting when you're not around to throw it for them. There's also the risk that you didn't leave them enough to do at all. How are they supposed to find something to do by themselves? They need enrichment to stay happy and healthy, even if you're not around. This goes for lazier cats who you suspect spend the whole day sleeping too. Sometimes they get up and have an urge to play. Leaving a puzzle toy filled with treats for them to figure out will keep their minds off finding something to do, like sharpening their claws on your curtains. Make sure their cat tree is by a window with a good view of the yard, or they have someone to stop by and play with during the day. Anything that keeps them active will make your absence easier to bear. Number 5. Who's going to feed me? Any pet parent knows that their animal companions are always hungry. Cats are no exception. While you can tackle their hungry wailing by providing them food on time every day and maintaining a routine feeding schedule, they do have a fondness for drama. Your cat will adjust quickly to your habit of leaving for work every day. They'll also know they get fed shortly after you get back. While they might not be able to read a clock, your feline will notice when you're not there on time. Their stomach will tell them. Maybe you got held up by some last-minute paperwork or the traffic was terrible. Whether you're a few minutes or an hour late, your hungry feline will greet you with the same protest. How could you leave them to starve for so long? It might sound dramatic, but how is your cat supposed to know you were on your way the whole time and worried about them too? For all they knew, you were out meeting other strange cats and feeding them instead. Yes, they can smell that kitten you paused to pet. That's the real reason why you're late home, isn't it? Number 6. Treat cupboard, here I come. Mischief might be fun when someone's around to witness it, but it can also be very limiting. With you around, making sure your cat doesn't get into too much trouble, how are they supposed to explore everything they set their heart on? They might grudgingly stay away from the cupboards when you're around because of the disgruntled sigh and inevitable moving of said cat to another room, which is just plain rude, by the way. You do know your cat was on a quest, right? When you're out of the house, however, they have the whole place to themselves. Who's going to know if they spend all afternoon figuring out how to open the cupboard, holding their treats captive? They're on a rescue mission. Besides, how are they supposed to know you'll be back in time for dinner? It's every cat for themselves. So what if you eye all the open cupboards in bemusement when you return home? Your cat has no idea why they're all open either. How weird. Number 7. How long will you be gone? While it's okay to leave your cat for a few hours while you go to work, or even overnight as long as you ask someone to stop by and feed them, it's not a good idea to leave them unattended for days on end. Adult cats are usually very self-sufficient. They'll nap away the hours while you're gone, but they can't clean out their litter tray, make sure their water dish is full, or fill up their food bowl at mealtimes. Kittens, on the other hand, shouldn't be left alone for more than a few hours at a time. Not only do they need to be fed more often, but they're also full of energy all the time. Rather than sleeping the day away, they're constantly in motion. Without supervision, they can, and do, get into trouble. No matter how old your cat is, though, they still get lonely. They need regular chin scratches, even if they protest that they only tolerate them. To keep your cat safe and happy while you're away, always make sure to plan your absence. If you can't take them with you on your trip, consider a pet sitter. Your cat will have the familiarity of home to keep them comfortable and also someone to care for them until you get back. Number 8. What's the time? Somehow, cats always know exactly when their feeding time is approaching. Sure, they might be a few minutes or even an hour out, but they know when dinner time is. You could almost set a clock to those plaintive meows, which begs the question, can cats tell the time? Despite their best efforts to prove the contrary, cats can't tell the time the same way we can. They know when they feel hungry, or that they're fed when the light changes as the day settles into the evening. Cats can't read a clock, though. For this reason, they don't have a grasp on how long you spend away from home. To them, you could be away for a few minutes or hours. If they spend the day asleep, they're even less likely to notice how long you've been gone. The closer it gets to their dinner time, though, and you still being AWOL, they're more likely to start fretting about where their food is. They're not going to have to catch their own, are they? Some cats like to go outside, prowling the great outdoors like they're Odysseus on his Odyssey. But others? They're homebodies, loving nothing more than snoozing around in the safety of your home. Sorry, their home. It might be you who pays the bills, but we know it's their home. As you will definitely know, indoor cats have some different needs to outdoor cats. But what are they? These are 7 things you should never do if you have an indoor cat. Fail to provide vertical spaces. We all know that cats love to climb. You'd think they could fly given how obsessed they are with scaling to the highest heights. For that reason, providing elevated platforms such as cat trees is an absolute must. If you had an outdoors cat, they'd have the whole world to use as a jungle gym of sorts. But by keeping them inside, their options for climbing have been drastically limited. And they're like Spider-Man. They want to scale anything and everything. But by buying things like cat trees, you can turn your boring home into the cat equivalent of the ultimate parkour arena. Having toxic plants in the home. Since we're talking about cat trees, let's take a moment to talk about real trees. By which I mean houseplants. Who doesn't love a houseplant? They liven up your home, bringing a little splash of the great outdoors to the indoors, livening things up with a splash of color and an injection of oxygen. If you have houseplants, you might have noticed your cat loves nibbling on the leaves with such ferocity and regularity. You'd think you never feed them, and their only hope for sustenance is to consume your decorations. It's totally cute because cat nibbles are always cute. But there's bad news. Some plants are highly toxic to cats. So if you have an indoor cat and you love decorating your home with foliage, there are some plants you are definitely going to want to avoid. Cabbage plants? Toxic. Dragon trees? Toxic. Cyclamens, lily of the valley, foxgloves, yucca plants, spider plants, tulips, oleander. They are all toxic to cats. And there's jade plants, which can cause vomiting and a loss of coordination, and lilies, which are so toxic to cats they can even trigger kidney failure. It's important as an indoor cat owner to take note of these and ensure you never have any in your home, no matter how pretty they might be, because you won't always be around to shoo the cat away from eating at them. Granted, many of these aren't exactly common houseplants, but still you can never be too safe, can you? There's actually quite a few more that are toxic to cats. The list really does go on and on. In many ways, what's better is to note which plants are not toxic to cats and decorate your house with those instead. Some of the best options for plants that your fur baby can chew on safely are sunflowers, orchids, Boston ferns, bamboo plants, and roses. I mean, I think those are some better options anyway. Relying on dry food. It is a massive mistake to feed your cat dry food, and dry food only. Which is a mistake way too many cat parents make, given dry food is technically healthier. Don't get me wrong, dry food is great, but it simply cannot be the only thing your precious fluffball is eating. The golden rule of caring for your indoor cat is to remember lots of the same rules that apply to humans actually apply to cats. Would it be good for your health if you only ate one thing all the time? Nope, you need variety in your diet. So guess what? So does the feline contingent of your family. But that's not the only reason why only relying on dry food is not a-okay. It's time for a list within a list. Here are 3 reasons why your cat shouldn't just eat dry food. Reason 1. Hydration. Dry food has no water in it. Not to get too scientific, but that's why it's called dry food. But all mammals need a certain percentage of moisture in their diet. Reason 2. Sort of spinning out of reason 1, but not having enough moisture in their diet can sadly cause urinary tract issues, and nobody wants that. Reason 3. Dental health. Dry food is great for cleaning teeth, but many cats benefit from the unique texture of wet food to help stimulate their gums. So, while dry food is good for the teeth, wet food is good for the gums. It is worth noting that this does not mean you should pivot to an all-wet food diet. The key is a perfect balance of both. It's also worth noting that by saying this is a mistake when it comes to indoor cats, that doesn't mean you can feed your outdoor cat a dry food-only diet. They're just more likely to get what they need by catching prey in the big, bad world. Leave them alone for excessively long periods. If your fur baby never goes outside, that means you and anyone you might live with are their entire world. You might have other companions outside the house, from friends to colleagues to family, but your indoors cat only gets to hang out with the people who live in or visit that house. So, when you aren't there, they are really alone. For this reason, it's sensible to never leave them alone for too long. Obviously, you have commitments. You have a job to go to unless you magically pay your rent or mortgage without having to work, in which case, tell me your secrets, and your fur baby gets that. And if you stick to a regular pattern, they will learn those rhythms and will understand you'll be back when you'll be back. Of course, you get to have a life, but as much as possible, avoid extra long or erratic stretches where they are all alone. Fail to play with them. You shouldn't just play with your cat because it's fun. You should play with them because there's literally an argument to be had that they need in. Playing is vital to a cat's well-being, and to boost, it bolsters their bond with you. An outdoors cat will find it easier to find opportunities to play. As mentioned earlier, they've got the whole wide world as a playground. They can scarper and frolic to their heart's content. But indoors, there are limits. It's just the same few familiar rooms, so you need to be the source of the good times. There are so many reasons why consistent play is good for your little tiger. It helps them exercise. It's a good outlet for energy that is all pent up from being stuck indoors all day. And it's not just good for physical health, but mental too. It exercises their brain, just like how playing in humans gets our gray matter moving, and it obviously helps alleviate boredom. Consistent play with them is also great for you, and it helps build a trust and bond between you. And crucially, helps you learn more about them, because the more you play with them, the more you can see and understand their personality. Because there are actually many different styles of cat play, and understanding which your cat enjoys can illuminate who they really are. Who's in the mood for more listception? Playstyle 1. Swatting. No, I don't mean they run around with a little swatter trying to deal with flies, as helpful as that could be, especially in the summer. Swat play is what catspurts call it. Yes, catspurt is a real word when a cat likes to play by running around chasing things. Playstyle 2. Hunting. Now this one is kind of self-explanatory, but as cats are carnivores, some of them have a play style that is a throwback to having to catch birds and mice to feed themselves. Playstyle 3. Interacting. All play styles kind of feature interacting in one respect or another, but when catspurts say interacting, yes, I'm sticking with catspurts. What they mean is, choose to play with toys rather than other methods of play such as biting you. If you have an indoor baby, don't make the mistake of playing with them so little. You fail to know what their play style is, so you can be sure of the right way to keep them stimulated and happy. Fail to secure your home. If you have an indoor cat, ensuring doors and windows are properly secured is vital. Otherwise, there is a chance they could slip out like they're starring in a Feline remake of The Great Escape or Chicken Run. And while they might be intrigued by the great indoors, they might not be ready for the reality of what's out there. Think of it like an introverted person suddenly finding themselves at a very busy party, overwhelmed and overstimulated. Forget to vaccinate them. If you have an outdoor cat, then you'll know they need regular vaccines. That's how you prevent them from getting sick, because the great outdoors is full of all sorts of germs and grossness, and you don't want that infecting your precious little baby. You're their parent after all, and what do parents do more than keep their babies healthy? But if you have an indoor cat, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking vaccines aren't necessary, because all the big scary germs are outside, right? And your baby is safely tucked up indoors? But remember, you go outside, so you might bring those germs inside with you, serving as the perfect vessel to infect your cat. For that reason, even if your cat never steps outside, you still need to get them vaccinated regularly, because you never know what you might have dragged in with you. Those are some choice tips on mistakes to avoid if you have an indoor cat. If you get these things right, they'll love you for it. It's morning and, a work day. You get up, get ready, feed your cat, grab some coffee, and there's a problem. Your cat is meowing, rubbing their body against your legs and following you to the door. It's like they don't want you to leave. But that can't be right, can it? Well, despite their reputation for being aloof and standoffish, cats are actually very attached to their humans. When those humans go away, especially for long periods of time, like on vacation or for work trips, it can lead to them becoming upset and stressed out, sometimes even after their cat parents have come back. This is called separation anxiety. In this video, we're going to look at the signs of separation anxiety in cats, when it becomes abnormal and what you can do to try and help your kitty through it. But before we dive in, why not subscribe and join our feline loving community for more information about how to care for and look out for your kitty? Do cats even care? First of all, it's the million-dollar question for every cat parent. Do our cats actually care about us at all? You might have heard people say that cats only hang around their humans for the free food and cuddles, but that's far from the case. Cats may not be as social as other species like dogs or humans, but feral cats who don't have humans to look after them will often form social groups or colonies around a shared food source. These groups of usually female or juvenile cats will groom each other, sleep beside each other, share food, and even look after each other's kittens. You might have encountered human families who are less supportive. To a domestic kitty, their human caretakers are their colony, and they show this through displays of feline affection, such as kneading, head rubbing, purring, and grooming. We're very much members of their family, and they often become anxious when we disappear for no clear reason. Studies have shown, in fact, that the attachment that cats have towards their people is very similar to the attachment that dogs have towards their owners and that young babies have towards their primary caretakers. In a 2019 experiment, cats were put through a strange situation test, an experiment originally designed to be done with babies and their mothers. The kitties and their people were taken to a new and interesting room with lots of toys and fun things. The humans stayed with their pets for 2 minutes, then left for 2 minutes, then came back for another 2 minutes, all while researchers observed. Researchers noticed that most cats tended to become more anxious when their people were away, showing that they relied on their humans for a sense of safety and security. For the majority, this anxiety went away when their humans returned, showing that they had a secure attachment style. Some, however, stayed anxious even when the people came back, acting like they were worried they might leave again. This is called an insecure attachment style, and it can lead to separation anxiety. What is separation anxiety? It's normal for cats to get a bit anxious when they are left alone in a strange place or with strange humans. But separation anxiety is when even normal, short periods of separation, like when you go to work or to the store, cause significant anxiety in your cat. Anxiety that might not go away, even when you come safely home. Separation anxiety can have a few different causes. Female cats are more likely to be diagnosed with it than male, presumably because they are more likely to form social attachments in the wild. It can be a lifelong problem for some kitties, or develop in others after a traumatic event. Remember, just because an event wasn't traumatic for the humans involved doesn't mean it can't be traumatic for your cat. The majority of separation anxiety cases happen with indoor cats who live in homes with only one person to look after them. This doesn't mean that you should get another cat if your kitty is an only child, but it does mean that you should be looking out for the signs more if this describes you and your cat. For some cats, just like with humans, the trauma that leads to separation anxiety can happen early in life. Cats who were orphaned or taken from their mamas too early when they were babies will often have issues with separation anxiety. But for other cats, it can be caused by an unexpected long separation from their humans, or even something less dramatic, like a seemingly normal change in routine. One of the most common causes of feline separation anxiety happening later in life is cat parents who previously worked from home transitioning to working in the office. Does my cat have separation anxiety? There are a few different symptoms of separation anxiety in cats. Your cat may not have all of these, however, and if they show any of them for a significant period of time, then it's a good idea to get them checked out by a vet before you do anything else, just to rule out the possibility of a physical problem. Cats who have separation anxiety will cling to their humans. They might follow you around the house when you're home, or try to stop you from leaving by winding themselves around your legs or sitting on you. They may also meow more than usual. In severe cases, your kitty might start acting out by scratching the furniture, refusing to eat, peeing on the floor, or even throwing up. This isn't your cat being bad, and it's important that you don't punish them for these behaviors. Cats are very scent-based creatures and derive a lot of comfort from having their territory and possessions marked with their scent. Domestic cats can be trained to mostly understand that the wild cat way of scent marking their surroundings by peeing on them or scratching them is not something one can do indoors. Instead, they stick to milder forms of scenting, such as rubbing themselves against things or even people that they want to claim as their own. But when your kitty is stressed, those wild behaviors start coming out again. Not only is punishing or yelling at them for these natural responses unfair, it's also counterproductive as it creates more stress and will likely make the problem worse. How can I help my cat with their anxiety? Unfortunately, for humans and cats both, the average person can't just quit their job and stay home with their cat all day, much as you might want to. So you need some way to help your cat through it. You might be tempted. Now we've told you that separation anxiety is more common in single cat households to consider bringing another kitty into your home. Don't do this! Although many cats do well in multi-cat homes, the transition from being the only cat to having siblings is rarely easy. If your cat is already exhibiting signs of stress, such a dramatic change is likely to make the problem worse. Instead, you should try and build as regular a routine as possible around your work hours. Even if you can't be with your furry friend during the day, having set times for feeding and play can help your cat feel secure. If your kitty is peeing outside the litter box or scratching up the furniture in an attempt to scent mark, then it may be worth installing a pheromone diffuser. These mimic the scents that cats use to mark their territory. But don't worry, humans can't smell them. And so calm your cat's urges to spread their scent. You might think that you can't do much to calm your kitty while you're away, but you'd be wrong. Try to provide them with a wide variety of toys to distract them while you're out of the house, so they don't get bored and go looking for you. If you have enough, you can even cycle through them, removing some at regular intervals and replacing them with others. This keeps your kitty from getting bored with the toys they have. If your cat's anxiety is significant enough that it's preventing you from leaving the house or causing them to destroy the house when you do have to leave, then it might be time to try consulting a vet. Like humans, cats can sometimes experience anxiety severe enough for it to be classified as a mental illness. For these severe cases, there are medications that exist to help them feel better. Much like many humans take meds for anxiety. It's every cat parent's worst nightmare. You wake up in the morning, but there's no furry presence sleeping next to your head on the pillow. No yowling for food in the kitchen. No clambering onto your keyboard when you're trying to get to work. Instead, the door or window is open and your kitty is missing. Time to wander the streets calling their name and rattling a packet of cat treats. Time to put up handmade posters and post frantic pleas on social media. Time to beg your neighbors to check their garages and gardens and anywhere else your furry fugitive might be hiding themselves. The good news is, most feline escapees come home again eventually. Either they waltz in the door one morning acting like they never left, or they're found lurking on a neighbor's property and get brought back. Your cat is probably fine. But you may find yourself wondering, why did they run away in the first place? Did you do something wrong? Do they not love you anymore? Are they two-timing you with some other family down the street, or was it just the call of the wild? In this video, we're going to look at some of the reasons why cats run away from home and how you can prevent them from doing so. But before we dive in, why not subscribe to our channel and join our feline-loving community for more videos on how to care for your kitty? While you're at it, ring that notification bell to receive instant updates whenever we post new content. What is home? You might think that your cat's home is the same as your home, and if you have an indoor-only cat, that probably is the case. But if your kitty is allowed to free roam, then the situation could be a bit more complicated. A cat's sense of home can be divided into two parts. First, there's their home range, which is the area that they patrol, where they hunt and look for other cats to mate with. For feral cats, that is cats who don't have people to look after them. These can get very large indeed. One study found that the average territory size for a feral cat in a rural area was over 75 hectares, which is an area of land only slightly smaller than that occupied by the SeaWorld theme park in San Diego. Domestic kitties tend to have smaller ranges, however, mainly because they don't have to worry about hunting for food. Outdoor cats average at about 1.89 hectares, or just over 3.5 football fields. Within that home range, your kitty will have a specific area, probably centered around your house, that they think of as their territory, and will defend from any other cats who try to move in. In human terms, your cat's territory is like your house and backyard, an area that you live in that only people who are members of your household or people you like enough to invite are allowed to enter. By comparison, a home range is like your neighborhood, the place where you go to work, hang out with friends, buy food, and spend most of your time. You share it with other people, just like cats will often have home ranges that overlap with those of other kitties, but you might well still think of it as home, especially when you're talking to people who don't live there. And just like you probably wouldn't consider yourself lost if you were hanging out at the library a few blocks from your house, your cat won't necessarily think of themselves as lost if they're just wandering around the edge of their home range. They know exactly where they are. Unfortunately, not all cats who go missing are just wandering their home range. Sometimes, despite their territorial natures, cats will choose to leave their home for good. Here are some of the most common reasons why cats run away or go wandering, and what you can do about it. Number 1. You've moved house. We've all heard those miracle stories of cats who somehow get separated from their homes and end up returning over miles of distance. We've all seen The Incredible Journey. But this remarkable ability works both ways. If your cat considers their home territory to be somewhere other than your house, then they may feel compelled to make a similar odyssey to get back to it. You may have heard that you can combat this instinct by rubbing butter on your cat's paws to make them wash themselves. This is an old wives' tale. Buttering your cat may make it slightly easier to follow them if they do run away. Just follow the trail of buttery paw prints. But the idea that your cat will consider any place where they have washed themselves to be their new home territory is a total myth. Cats will wash themselves anywhere. Instead, the best thing to do is to simply keep your kitty inside for at least 2 weeks after moving. This will give them time to get used to their new home. Number 2. Home doesn't feel like home anymore. Your cat's territory is their safe space, a place where they feel secure. When a cat runs away, it's often because that sense of security has been compromised. Cats are very sensitive to change. Even small changes can stress them out, and large changes can cause them so much anxiety that they may no longer feel safe in the house. One of the most common and potentially devastating changes your furry friend might have to cope with is the introduction of a new family member, whether they be a new pet, a new baby, or a new partner or flatmate. Another cat will likely be perceived as an intruder and treated as such, even if they're only a kitten. A larger pet like a dog, on the other hand, could be seen as a predator. New babies are loud and unpredictable, and once they get a bit older, they can be grabby and play rough. New adults in a household should hopefully be more able to adjust their behavior to put an anxious kitty more at ease. But your average adult human is also about 6 times the size of even a large cat, which tends to make them seem more threatening. The best thing you can do in this circumstance is introduce the new family member slowly. If it's another cat or a dog, start off by keeping the new animal in a separate room, while allowing the other one to free roam the house. Trade the animal's bedding and toys every day or so that they can get used to each other's scents. Once the new animal seems more relaxed in their new environment, you can start introducing them to each other through a barrier, such as a baby gate or a door with a window in it. For a new cat, give each cat a treat and introduce toys on each side of the barrier so that the two of them will associate each other's presence with fun and treats. Once they start being able to relax in each other's presence, you can remove the barrier. With a new dog, on the other hand, you should focus on training them to stay calm and focused in the presence of the cat. Let the cat roam free on their side of the barrier, while you focus on getting the dog to stay seated or lying down, making sure that their attention is on you and not the cat. Only when the dog is able to stay perfectly calm in the presence of the cat, and the cat is able to act relaxed and natural in the presence of the dog, should the two animals be introduced. With a new human, young or old, the process should go even slower than that. Your cat should never be forced to interact with a new baby or roommate. Instead, provide them with safe opportunities to approach on their own at their own speed. All cats are resistant to change, but they're also intensely curious. If they're given the time to come to terms with the situation, they'll likely initiate contact on their own, eventually. Number 3. They're in heat. If you've recently welcomed a new kitten into your home, you've probably been told not to let them out of the house until they're old enough to be spayed or neutered. You might think that the only risk of an unfixed fur baby escaping is a potential litter of adorable accidents, but you'd be wrong. From the age of 6 months onwards, female cats who haven't been spayed will begin going into heat. A female cat in heat wants, more than anything else, to mate, and given the slightest opportunity, she will escape your home to go find a male cat. Cat parents of male cats have it even worse, as males can breed at any time of year. Intact males will regularly go on long trips away from home, searching for female cats who are in heat, or fighting with other males who are perceived as romantic rivals. The solution to this particular problem is simple. Always spay or neuter your pets before you let them out to wander the neighborhood. The trust of a cat is something special. Earning it is hard, losing it is easy, Plus, cats have really controversial, and sometimes even openly rude, ways of showing their trust to us. From sniffing, to biting, to waking you up, in this video, we're going to be looking at 10 sure-proof signs that your cat feels safe in your presence. Sign number 1. Does your kitty keep noticeably sniffing whenever they're around you? You might worry that your deodorant has stopped working, but don't panic. Cats use their sense of smell to interpret the world around them, the same way that we use our vision. Sniffing a human or another animal gives your cat all kinds of information about them, from their physical health to their emotional state, to even their relationship status. This is why it's generally recommended that when you're trying to pet a strange kitty on the street or at a friend's house, you give them the opportunity to sniff you first. If your cat is sniffing around you frequently, however, then that means that they feel safe enough to take more time to explore your particular scent. They probably also enjoy it because they associate it with you, the human they love. Sign number 2. Hey, where did your cat go? And what's that loaf of bread doing on the couch? Oh, the loaf position is a common position for cats to sleep and rest in. It's when they lie down on their belly with all 4 legs tucked underneath their body. The loaf is a particularly good name for this position because having all their little paws tucked under their tummy keeps them toasty warm. However, having their tootsies tucked under their tummy also means that it'll probably take a second longer for your cat to stand up. In the wild, if your kitty was being crept up on by a predator, that second could be the difference between life and death. So why does your fur baby keep doing this, despite the danger? Because they know that you'd never let anything happen to them. Ironically, if your kitty sleeps like a loaf, then it means that they think that you are the best thing since sliced bread. Sign number 3. Cats may be the only animal with a skeleton that's made out of rubber. Watching them stretch would make even the most experienced yoga instructor look like they have rusty joints. But, like forming a loaf, stretching can leave your kitty vulnerable to attack. When they stretch their muscles, they put themselves in a position where their front legs are fully extended and all their toes are spread out. This not only means that they take an extra second to run away in the event of an unexpected predator attack, but it also means that they're slightly off balance, meaning that they'd be at a disadvantage if they had to try and fight instead of flee. Once again, the luxury of a good stretch is something that your kitty only feels able to indulge in because they have their big, brave human there to protect them. Sign number 4. Did you do something wrong? Is your kitty giving you the cold shoulder? You've been sitting in the same room for over 20 minutes and they haven't so much as glanced at you. Do they not love you anymore? Quite the opposite. Bizarrely, for a cat, ignoring you can actually be a sign of affection. It shows that they feel safe enough to know that you won't do anything unexpected or scary, so they don't need to be on high alert. Like many introverts, cats just love to sit and chill with their friends. Sign number 5. Oh, your kitty is all tuckered out. Well, maybe. But there's potentially another explanation if your cat is yawning at you. Yawning in cat body language is their way of communicating that they feel relaxed and happy around someone. Your cat is letting you know that they feel safe, letting you know that they're feeling sleepy and are off their guard. Sign number 6. One of the most unusual ways that cats show their affection is through biting. Yep, gentle bites or love bites are a cat's way of trying to groom you. Cats usually groom themselves and each other by licking their fur, but sometimes they need to use their teeth as well to help untangle knots in the fur and work out burrs. When you pet your cat, they interpret it as you trying to help out with grooming them in your awkward human way. Your hands aren't going to get them as clean as a cat's tongue, but your kitty appreciates the effort, and to show that they try to return the favor by licking or biting you. Sign number 7. Cats never look so comfy as when they're flopped on their side, with all their legs sticking out. They just look so cute and relaxed. But your fur baby sleeping that way isn't just a sign that they're feeling ready for a snooze, it's also another sign that they're feeling safe around you. Sleeping on their side means that your cat's tummy is on display. A cat's belly is the most vulnerable part of their body, as it's where they keep their fragile vital organs. Any predator would attack there first, so cats usually try to keep it facing the ground. Exposing their tummy is a sign that your kitty trusts you to protect them, especially if they choose to also sleep with their back facing you. When your cat sleeps with their tummy on display and their back facing you, they're openly saying, "I trust you to watch my back when I'm vulnerable." What could be a clearer sign of trust? Sign number 8. By this point in the video, you'll have realized that cats are pretty conscious of their position on the food chain. In the wild, although they're vicious predators when it comes to smaller animals like mice and birds, cats are also prey for many larger animals. As such, they have evolved an instinctive desire to stay hidden when they're feeling unsafe. This is why they like sitting in boxes. When you first got your kitty, you might have noticed that they preferred to hide under furniture or sit in corners, where a large predator would have a harder time creeping up on them. Once your cat got used to their new home, however, you probably noticed them venturing out into the middle of the room more often. Eventually, you may have come across them sleeping or resting out in the open. This level of relaxation is a sign that your cat has fully accepted that they have nothing to fear from predators. They know that they can sleep wherever they want because you'll keep them safe. Sign number 9. You might think that your cat's whiskers are just unusually sensitive hairs. You probably know that cats can use them to help measure small spaces to see if they can fit through them. But did you know that they can actually move them independently? Cats move their whiskers for the same reason that we move our eyebrows, to communicate emotions. A stressed out cat will have their whiskers pinned against their face to protect them, while a relaxed and contented cat will have relaxed whiskers. A happy and curious kitty, meanwhile, will have their whiskers pointed outward. This puts your kitty's delicate whiskers in a vulnerable position, however, so if you notice their whiskers sticking out, then this is a sign that they feel completely safe around you. Sign number 10. Who needs an alarm clock when you have a cat? Many kitties will wake their humans up every morning to get breakfast, and a lot of them will disagree with their human friends about what time breakfast should be. But although it may be annoying, especially when they do it on your day off, your kitty waking you up in the morning is actually another sign of trust. Like a bratty kid, they know that they can get away with this behavior because you love them enough to not get mad. Yeah, you might sometimes wish that your kitty would feel a little less safe around you in the early mornings, but when you open your eyes and catch sight of that adorable, trusting face, you wouldn't change it for the world, would you? By the way, have you ever noticed that there are really weird things only female cats do for their owners? Check out this video to find out super quirky things female cats do and the reasons behind them.